Hi everyone, Nina here. Huge changes are coming to Battlegrounds, and today I'm going to cover all of them in this video. First of all, hero changes. Mr. Bigglesworth is getting a buff. Bigglesworth's hero power will now give a consolation coin whenever a player dies with no minions. This is quite an interesting change because the cat can get griefed if an opponent knows they're about to die and sells off their whole board, so the cat doesn't get any discovers with his hero power. It is actually quite rare for that to happen. In all my years of playing Battlegrounds, I don't think I've had it happen to me once. Although it can be quite useful in paid actor lobbies where one or more players leave at the beginning of the game because they didn't get a good hero or for some other reason. Carriel Roam. Conviction now targets more minions at each rank. 2 random friendly at rank 1, 4 random friendly minions at rank 2, and all friendly minions at rank 3. Again, Carriel was one of the heroes I mentioned in my worst heroes video that I just uploaded. I'll leave a link to it right here if you want to check it out. This change is a buff to her obviously, but it's still stats for gold concept. I don't know if we'll make her more playable at higher MMR lobbies. The change to the conviction at rank 1 is quite interesting because it buffs 3 instead of 1. That's quite a big buff. Maybe I'll give her a try when she gets changed. Both Dekkster and Vandar, the heroes that I called slug tier in my previous video, have been buffed. The hero powers haven't been changed too much. With Dekkster, the old hero power was choose a friendly minion. It copies the attack of your highest attack minion until next turn. With the new Dekkster hero power, choose a minion. It copies the attack of the highest attack minion until next turn. So that means that Dekkster's hero power can now target minions in the shop. Vanda's old hero power was choose a friendly minion. It copies the health of your highest health minion until next turn. Vanda's new hero power is choose a minion. It copies the health of the highest health minion until next turn. So again, it allows you to target the minions in the shop, and the buff is temporary until next turn. Interested to see if we have the same bug as we did last patch when Nagas first came out, and if you played any spellcraft spells on magnetic minions in the shop and then they kept their buffs forever. So I think maybe if you use Dekkster's or Vanda's hero power on a magnetic minion in the shop, it might actually keep the attack and health forever. We'll have to wait and see. Guff Rune Totem has also been buffed. His armor has been changed from tier 7 to tier 4, and his old hero power was for 1 gold, give a friendly minion of each tavern tier +1/+1. The new hero power is 2 gold, and it gives a friendly minion of each tavern tier +3/+2. So it's quite a huge buff in stats, but you have to spend more gold on it. Again, it's another one of those heroes where you have to spend gold on stats. Maybe there is something that can be done. I don't even know, it sucks so much. At least with the old 1 cost hero power, you could play Toki Curve, but with the new 2 cost hero power, it's going to be really awkward to manage your gold early turns, and you might not be able to use it until 8 gold turn. Overlord Sourfang's old hero power is give +2 attack to the next minion you buy this turn, and it upgrades every turn. The new hero power gives +2 attack to the next minion you buy, upgrades next turn. So what this means is the effect will now carry over between turns. So for example, if you rolled and rolled and rolled, and you didn't find a good minion to use your hero power on, you have 1 gold left, you can just use that 1 gold to hero power, and then next turn, the next minion you buy is going to get the attack buff. And I'm assuming next turn you'll be able to hero power again and buy another minion with upgraded stats. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good change. I really like Sourfang in mech lobbies. I think he's underrated, and I do pretty well with him almost every time I play him, as long as mechs are in. Syndragos' old hero power is freeze a minion in Bob's Tavern. Frozen minions get +2/+1 each turn. The new wording says freeze a minion in Bob's Tavern. Passive, at the end of your turn, frozen minions get +2/+1. The wording doesn't actually change the hero power at all, and the new wording is to distinguish clearly between the active part of the hero power and the passive part of the hero power. Sneed has been unnerfed. The armor has been changed from tier 7 to tier 1, so he's not going to have any armor anymore. The old hero power was for 2 gold, give a friendly minion Death Rattle, summon a random minion of the same tavern tier. The new unnerfed version costs 1 gold. Give a friendly minion Death Rattle, summon a random minion of a lower tavern tier. To be honest, I think Sneed was pretty good already with 2 gold. He was really good in Avenge lobbies, and he was really good in Murloc lobbies because he helped you trigger Sephin pretty consistently. So yeah, I am ready to see what happens now. And he's just going to be back to his toxic self off, I guess. The last hero change we have is Yasharaj. The old hero power was start of combat, summon a minion from your tavern tier. Add a copy of it to your hand. The new hero power says add a minion from your tavern tier to your hand. Summon a copy of it. What this means is the act of adding a minion of your tavern tier to your hand will go first. So even if you have no space on your board to summon the minion, you still get it in your hand for next turn. Now I'm going to go through all the minion changes and which minions have been removed before moving on to the new cards that are being introduced in the next patch. This change is going to be quite popular with a lot of people. Savjz is coming back to Battlegrounds. Savjz was a tier 3 minion with 1/1 stats. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random minion. So the possibilities for this minion were endless, but you still of course had to invest 3 gold into it and wait until next turn and hope that it turns into something insane, like maybe a Caligos or a Gas Coiler. Of course, it's not a consistent card, but it's just something fun to play if you want to high roll. This will also make AFK more popular because there's always chance of you getting 2 Savjz and the turn after that turning into some amazing cards like 2 Mama Bears, Mama Bear Gas Coiler, 2 Caligos. The possibilities are limitless. Another card that's making a comeback to Battlegrounds is Iron Sensei. Iron Sensei was a 2/2 mech from tier 3. At the end of your turn, give another friendly minion +2/+2. This was actually one of my favorite mech cards on tier 3. It's amazing to discover as AFK. It's amazing to have 2 Iron Senseis or Iron Sensei and a Deflecto. It's just really consistent scaling every turn for mechs, and I'm really happy it's making a comeback. Now let's move on to the graveyard of removed minions, and there are a lot of them. Very first one is Acolyte of Cthulhu. Acolyte of Cthulhu had a pretty good run. It was a really popular card on tier 1 because it had really good stats and it also had a lot of tech possibilities. Acolyte of Cthulhu is really good against mechs and it's really good to stop Pirate Exodia builds. It was also amazing back when Harbinger was in the game. It's now moved to tier 2. It's really picked on tier 2, but it's still being used as a tech card by a lot of players. It's a really good tech against Leroy and of course Wind Fury minions, and I'm pretty sad it's getting removed. Other cards that are getting removed are Menagerie Mug, Unstable Ghoul, Budding Green Thumb, Screwgiant Clunker, Press the Pyre Spawn, yes! Defender of Argus, and Mechano Egg. Some of these are quite surprising to me, but other ones are long time coming, like maybe Menagerie Mug and Screwgiant Clunker, and of course Press the Pyre Spawn that so many high MMR players have been lobbying to get removed. I think they're going to be really happy to see this change. I'm quite sad to see Mechano Egg get removed because there's one less reset for mechs, but there's a new tier 4 mech coming and I will discuss it in a little bit. On top of the removals, there's also quite a few minion changes. So Banner Boy is getting changed from 1 attack and 4 health to 1 attack and 3 health, but the text is also changing. The old text reads, at the end of your turn, play a blood gem on an adjacent Quillbore. The new text reads, at the end of your turn, play a blood gem on adjacent minions. So even if you don't have another Quillbore, you still be getting +2/+2 in total in stats every turn as long as you have 3 minions in total. Battlemaster is also getting a buff. He's getting buffed from 3 attack to 5 attack. Battlemaster has saved me quite a few times in games where I thought it was hopeless and I was about to top 8, but then you discover a 5 drop and find Battlemaster, and just like that you can manage to get a top 4, and even if you're lucky you can win the game. So getting a buff to its attack is a welcome change for me. Soul Devourer's text has changed, but the function itself hasn't changed. Old Battlecry Red. Choose a friendly demon, remove it to gain its stats and 3 gold. The new text is, Battlecry, consume a friendly demon to gain its stats and 3 gold. It's a much shorter text that actually explains the effect much better. And the last change to existing minions is Greasebot. I have been hoping for a Greasebot on nerf pretty much ever since he got nerfed to +1/+1 instead of +2/+1, and it kind of happened. Greasebot is currently on Tavern 4. It's a 3/6. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give it +1/+1 permanently. The new Greasebot is a Tavern 6 minion. The stats are 4/7, so they only increase by +1/+1 in stats. Oh wait, it has Divine Shield! I only just realized. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give it +3/+2 permanently. So now mechs actually have 2 useful cards on Tavern 6. I am not sure how good it will be. I think it might actually be pretty good because it already has Divine Shield, so it's going to start scaling itself straight away. I'm actually really excited to try the new Grease bot. It was one of my favorite minions when it gave +2/+1. So yeah, I'm super excited to try out the new Grease bot. So now let's move on to the new cards. And there's also one returning hero. So it looks like Lady Vashj is returning to Battlegrounds. Lady Vashj is a retired Battlegrounds hero. Her passive hero power was called Evolving Electricity. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern, replace his minions with one of the higher tier. So that meant that every time you press the upgrade button, minions in Bob's Tavern would just go 1 tavern higher. Of course, you get random minions, but she wasn't very good. Now she is coming back. Her hero power has a synergy with Nagas. Relics of the Deep cost 1 gold. Discover a spellcraft spell of your tier or lower. Passive. Your first one each turn is permanent. This is quite a juicy hero power, I think, especially late game when you get to Tavern 5. Maybe you get to discover some amazing spellcrafts that you can actually make permanent. For example, a permanent Divine Shield for 1 gold. That's pretty good. You probably wouldn't want to use your hero power early on in the game and instead try to find a spellcraft minion in the shop and just use that spellcraft spell every turn. And the first one you use is going to be permanent. Finding a Shoal Commander on Lady Vashj is going to be amazing, and it will give you a lot of stats every single turn as long as you're playing Nagas, and the hero power kind of forces you to play Nagas. You can say that this is one of those heroes that kind of forces you to play one tribe, but I'm willing to give her a try and see how she does. Now let's move on to the new minions coming to Battlegrounds. There's a new beast coming to Battlegrounds, Silverback Patriarch. It's a 1/4 tier 1 minion and it has taunt. I'm not really sure what to say about this minion. It's a little bit boring. I thought that maybe Alley Cat would get removed for it, but no, it's just a new addition to the beast pool of 1-drops. I don't really like it because it doesn't give you any economy, it doesn't make normal curve any easier, it doesn't make Jeeve curve any easier. I just feel like this is a minion with big stats that would either tie or win against all other 1-drops, but there is nothing good I can say about it, to be honest. Another interesting new addition to tier 1 is Tavern Tipper. It's a 2/2 neutral card. If you have any unspent gold at the end of your turn, gain +1/+2. I'm not sure what nice things I can say about this minion because it kind of forces you to play your gold inefficiently. I guess in the cases where you run out of time and you tip gold 1 gold, you will gain a little bit of stats. The wording makes me believe that for any amount of unspent gold, you will gain +1/+2. So if you're playing Galawix and you have 20 gold unspent because you're playing APM Pirates, you're not going to get an insane amount of stats. You're just going to get +1/+2 for all that gold that was unspent. If you're playing the game efficiently in the early turns, then you shouldn't really have any gold left over. I am really underwhelmed by this minion. New tier 2 minions. Sparring Partner is a tier 2 3/2 minion. It has taunt and its battle cry gives a minion taunt. Sparring Partner was introduced to replace Argus, which was a tier 4 and taunted 2 minions and also gave them +1/+1. Sparring Partner doesn't provide any extra stats and only taunts 1 minion, but it is a tier 2 minion, which means it'll be easier to find. I mean, there's not much I can say about this minion except that it gives taunt. It can be useful in the cases where you're playing around a certain build. For example, if you're playing around untaunted Nadina, you can taunt something small with Sparring Partner and it will not give it extra stats. Moving on to Cookie Chemist. It's also a tier 2 neutral minion with 4/4 in stats. The battle cry is swap the attack and health of a minion. I think there are going to be some interesting plays you can make with Cookie Chemist, especially heroes like Vol'jin. I think there's going to be quite a lot of abuse with Terragosa, especially now that it's been moved to Tavern 3. I'm thinking about the combination of Trickster and Terragosa, where Trickster is giving Terragosa health, and then you can swap the health and attack with Cookie Chemist before getting more health on Terragosa next turn from Trickster. But I'm sure there's other plays that players will think of. I'm looking forward to see what the player base will come up with. The last new tier 2 minion is Irel. It's a 1/5 neutral minion. After this attacks, give a friendly minion of each minion type +1/+2. So I think this minion works similar to Eliza, except only Irel will trigger the buffs. I'm guessing Irel is here to replace the monk, although the monk stats are permanent, so I'm not sure how this will work. The stats Irel gives are better than Zolf's as long as you have lots of minion types. So it kind of forces you to play Menagerie. There are 3 new tier 4 minions coming to Battlegrounds. Very first one I want to talk about is Tunnel Blaster. Tunnel Blaster is a 3/7 neutral minion with Taunt. The Death Rattle deals 3 damage to all minions. So Tunnel Blaster is here to replace Ghoul. I see Tunnel Blaster being a really good tech card you can play against mech builds, against George, and it also protects you against Leroy and Tank. But because it's a tier 4 minion, it's going to be a lot harder to find than Ghoul, so we'll see how it works out. So the next minion on tier 4 that I want to talk about is Wargear. It's a 5/5 mech with Magnetic. Wargear is here to replace the Mechano Egg. Being able to give your Deflector some more health is going to be really useful. And like I mentioned earlier, with Vandar or Drektar, you can now target minions in the shop with their hero power. So I was wondering if their hero power buffs will stay permanently on a magnetized minion. I'm looking forward to try it out. The last but not least tier 4 minion I want to talk about is Atramides. It's a 3/6 dragon that directly replaces Prester's Pyrospawn. Whenever Atramides attacks, it deals 3 damage to the target and its neighbors. I really like this minion, and I'm glad the Pyrospawn is gone. So limiting Pyrospawn's effect to only 1 minion I think is going to be a lot healthier for the game. And the very last new minion being introduced to Battlegrounds in the next patch is a tier 6 minion, Bofur the Lightbringer. Bofur Lightbringer has stats of 5, 6, and its battle cry sets a minion's attack and health to 15. Interestingly, the text doesn't say set a friendly minion's attack and health to 15, which means you'll be able to use it on a minion in Bob's Tavern. I can this as having a lot of uses. Not only it can give you a lot of tempo when you discover this card, but also you can use it as a tech, for example, to protect your Baron and other cards you don't want to get sniped. Finally, I want to mention that Dark Moon prizes are back in the game. From now until the next Battleground season, Dark Moon prizes will appear in 25% of games. Some of the Dark Moon prizes have been changed and some of them have been removed. Another big change is that the number of copies of each tier 1 minion was reduced from 16 to 15. My overall prediction for this next meta is going to be a mech dominant meta. There are so many changes that have been introduced that benefit mechs directly, from new mech cards to Ghoul being moved from Tavern 2 to Tavern 4, and of course Prester being removed with another much weaker minion. So yeah, I think we're going to see mechs being dominant in the meta again, which is actually quite healthy for the game, I think, because even if you don't high roll out of your mind, you can just stay on 4 and play mechs and try to salvage the game. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, feel free to let me know below, and I would love to hear what your thoughts on the patch are. I'll see you next time. Bye!